So we all have that gamer shame. Something that haunts us. Something that's just so bad when it comes to video games that we actually feel guilty of. Or, something that bothers us to this day. Whether it be a video game that you simply could not beat, something that you could not complete and it just haunted you. Whether it was that great deal that got away, or all of the items that you sold previously, before the prices spiked. Just things that we missed out on, things that, we feel about in a certain particular franchise. Maybe there's something that we cannot stand that everyone else loves. I myself have so many stories. So one thing that bothers me is the fact that I cannot make it past the first level in Super Ghouls and Ghosts. This is a game that has definitely haunted me from the first time that I played it. And especially when I played this game on the channel before I knew how to live stream or anything like that. I recorded these 13 days of Halloween or 13 nights of Halloween. And I went through and I played that game. And I continuously played it over and over and over again. And I could not make it past the first level. This game was just so difficult. And it felt like the more that I played, I just could not get through it. And I can't seem to win at this. Another game would have to be Crash Bandicoot, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. This is a game that I live streamed and I could not make it past these certain points. It's like this game was just so challenging and I do not remember any of these games being that difficult. I just remember being able to beat these games back in the day. Me and all my buddies, we would just play for countless hours. And it felt like some of those games were just so easy and we could just pass the controller along and just continue along. And I feel like I was just getting so frustrated that I couldn't seem to get out of this certain area. Even thinking back to the Sega Genesis, The Lion King, those challenging levels, I could just not pass that. I just don't know what it was, but I would always look to my cousins to help me out or someone else on some of those challenging parts. Now, of course, I don't feel so bad when it comes to Dark Souls or even Cuphead, just because those games are known to be very difficult. And some of these games, they may be really challenging, but I just feel like I could beat them. So it's just so crazy to me. Now, this idea actually came from my friend, Samantha Azira, and she did a video with all of my friends talking about their gamer shame. And one of those stories really deeply haunted me. This particular story is for, anyone that would get upset when you essentially destroy a piece of history, video game piece of history, one of the holiest of grails that I would love to have in my video game kiosk collection. Having something like this and hearing these stories, we can all relate to a lot of these, but not that one in particular. So make sure you guys go over there and check that out because that was so crazy to me and I can't believe that I heard that. That is probably the biggest gamer shame. Now, something that is just so wildly crazy to me that I said early on in my collecting days, this is something that really does haunt me because I said this. It's the most ludicrous thing that I could possibly think of too. I went into a local pawn shop. I was actually looking for some Sega Genesis and Sega Saturn games at this particular pawn shop because I was told they had Mortal Kombat and some other Sega Saturn games. They pulled out a bin of retro games and the person came from the back where the safe was and they had a copy of Stadium Events. Now, they wanted to show this to me, and they said that they had it for about $1,000. Now, this was just so crazy because this was 7 years ago or something around that time. And I remember thinking, and I said out loud, why would anyone spend that kind of money on video games? Why would someone pay more than $50 for some retro, older video game that's not even relevant anymore? That whole statement, that whole experience, that really does haunt me to this day because I think about having stadium events for such a fraction of what they're worth. They go for like $18,000 plus. If you get them with the box and manual, you're just thinking even more. And paying more than $50 for games. I'm pretty sure that I do that in today's time. And I'm pretty sure I've spent over $1,000 on a few games as well, whether they be prototypes or, video game merchandise. So that is just so crazy to me that I could have had a stadium event back in the day, and I could have, not said that. That's something that's just so crazy, and I still cannot believe it. I'm still in shock, so ludicrous. Have you ever said anything that you just think of, now, and you just didn't know what you were talking about? Now, we all have that story of selling our games from our childhood. And one thing that I'm so thankful for is that I actually kept my Jungle Green Nintendo 64 from my childhood. I remember getting that on Christmas, opening that up. I still have that Jungle Green console. I still have my copy of Donkey Kong 64, my copy of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, and just a few other games from my childhood with my saves and everything else. I remember having that stuff, but everything else I pretty much got rid of. I remember selling my Game Boy Pocket. I remember selling those to, continue on and get other games, other systems. I remember selling my PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, even my Nintendo GameCube. I'm pretty sure that I went to GameStop, traded it in for like $6, and used that towards something for the Nintendo Wii. Then I sold that. Then I sold my original Xbox with my Dance Dance Revolution mats, all the games, everything. I just remember getting rid of all of that stuff back then. Even my mom, she has like the biggest gamer shame. She threw away this entire Sega Genesis lot, the console. It probably had over 20 to 50 games in that big box. I remember we picked it up secondhand, played it for a little bit, and then she got rid of it. That is just so insane to me. And one of the biggest gamer shames is I lent my brother my Atomic Purple Game Boy Color. He had my copy of Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Yellow, with all of my save states on it. Just so many hours, hard work. He wanted to play that. So what did he do? He brought it to his karate class, put it in one of those little cubbies, and someone stole it. They stole all of it. And that is just so insane because I had to buy that stuff back later over time. And it's just so wild that that stuff is just gone. Your childhood, your memories, your saves, your games, everything just disappears. And I still often think about that, but I'm so happy that I have, my new copies of the games, my new systems that I have bought over the years. I've put countless hours into playing these games. And, probably not the same amount, and it doesn't really mean the same. But to me, I'll always have those gamer shame memories, and I'll always have those experiences of that. So it's just wild to me that all of that stuff happens, and, you get stuff stolen, you sell stuff, you pretty much get ripped off when you trade things in, especially back then. And, all things that I still think about. So I just need to know, what are your gamer shames? What are some things that, haunt you to this day? Was it some amazing deal that you missed out on? Was it seconds of picking something up? Was it selling everything or even trading things? I remember trading one of my crazy expensive Pokemon cards back in the day, traded it to a buddy of mine for not even a nice holographic card, but it was a fake card. He actually tricked me into trading for a fake card. So these are just those shames, those things that we wish we didn't do that still haunt us to this day when it comes to this. I want to know, what is your biggest gamer shame? And let me know in the comments down below. And thank you again, Samantha Zira, because this just brought up a whole bunch of memories. And I just cannot believe some of these even happened to me, and they still continue to happen. So of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out all of my other videos and stay tuned for more.